My name is Dakota Franson. I have been researching and investigating paranormal phenomenon for as long as I can remember. My operation went public when I was 14 years old. I have never used any illegal drugs, though I have been diagnosed with certain mental conditions, none of which attribute or are believed by the medical professionals I have spoken to in regards to these incidents as causing them. I have fought long and hard, even having to go up against members of my own family to try to do the right thing. There are bits of my story that I still cannot explain. But this is perhaps the weirdest case I've ever taken on. Some of you who have followed my social media channels already know what I'm about to say. But this is going to be the full reveal. Shortly after I graduated from high school, I released my first novel series titled The Ones Who Walk All Worlds. You can still find them, copies in Amazon, Barnes & Noble, various online retailers around the world. Basically, if you can understand American English, you can probably read it just fine. The stories initially started out as a way for me to document my cases. But the truth is, it became more of a science fiction, apocalyptic adventure as a way of me tying in the various conspiracy theories, everything that's out there, all the research that I knew back then. Only 3 books ever made it to publication, on top of a few short stories. As I've had a kind of a writer's block with them and ended up moving on to other projects. In this book, I've even worked in visions from experiments I've done in order to replicate the work of Nostradamus. And in the process, I may have ended up predicting meeting the woman I intend to marry, as well as the brutal deaths of some people I hold dear, as well as a few other events, it seems. I honestly did not realize that this happened until a friend of mine who's read pretty much almost everything I've put out noticed a few details like, hey, is that what I think it is? Basically, whatever I put in those books ended up coming to life in some form. Terms that are often used in order to describe such a phenomenon is tulpa, thought form. Basically, They're things that we think of up here, given physical life. So I began looking around, and I've known stories about other writers who have officially, who have had gone out in the open saying they fully believe real life, that in reality, in the world we are now, they have come across people and events they have written about in their own books. Some things they've even wrote about within the hour. Their creations came to life. I've actually had the privilege of speaking to one in regards to this case that I've been working. And he fully believes that the events took place. For a little over a week, I've been doing audio experiments utilizing a specialized seance that's meant to increase your odds of making contact with someone from the other side. It was my belief that because of how ghosts, even extraterrestrials, angels, demons, all these things seem to be possible due to the fact that they exist on dimensional planes interacting with our own. And I'm not the only one that's come to this conclusion. Yes, it's been presented in several conspiracy circles, but you can go on to the FBI archives online, look up UFO documents, and see that many of that official FBI investigators within the UFO phenomenon have come to the same conclusion in regards to the extraterrestrial phenomenon. They are not from planets like we perceive people from Mars. They are from other planes of existence that interact with our own. So, I wanted to do an experiment to see if we can essentially contact these other worlds. However, in order for this seance method that I've utilized, and there's a tutorial here on my YouTube channel that will show you the steps on how to do it yourself. It's completely safe. One of the requirements is a name and a rough idea of what the person you're trying to contact looks like. Maybe even their birthday. Those are you need that identifying information. You need a source of white noise and a recorder to possibly capture any audio phenomenon you may encounter, or you may not even realize took place during the test. There's also other elements that can throw into it. There's also a sigil involved. That's basically to help as a mental reference to how this is supposed to work. Even though the other writers I mentioned earlier say that their creations somehow came from a plane of imagination or territory of imagination, it still seems like they came from another world. Some of them, at least. So, I wanted to do an experiment to contact someone from another Earth. The most active example of these cases happens to be someone from DC Comics, from the Vertigo imprint, mostly. Same comic line that brings out the Sandman Swamp Thing, and even the show Lucifer is based on. I had to set up an experiment to contact none other than John Constantine. To be honest, I didn't expect it to work. But something came through. And something's been reaching out to me. The 2 audio tests I have posted so far were snippets where I believe I heard something. Because of the nature of this, I wanted to gather volunteers to tell me what they think they've heard without being told who it is I'm after. This is to avoid priming them. I've also had a select group of volunteers who knew the intended target listen to the audio, and all the results are coming in the same. I didn't expect this to work. And yes, some of you religious zealot nutbags, yes, I'm not very fond of some of you, just because of how you try to force it into everything, and I'm saying that on the record. Will say that I'll be easily influenced by demons. You don't know my fucking whole story, and most of you are too damn ignorant to shut up and listen, now aren't you? Against the advice of his own creators, I reached out to John Constantine. And some of the results indicate that there was a woman also responding. You might be wondering, how is it that I'm going to know it's him? Well, take away the exotic elements behind Constantine, the whole supernatural influence. He's still a gentleman who, based in canon, was born in the 1950s and is a heavy smoker. Heavy smoker with an attitude brought on by a troubled past. If that's in fact the same Constantine. He's still a gentleman from London in his 60s who's a heavy smoker. That's the basis of what I was looking for. However, there seems to be a woman who responded to him. And as soon as I'm done talking here, I'm going to play a message for you that was left on my phone. Back there. I'm going to pull it up right now. Fuck that. I'm not going to wait. I'll be honest. I have a bit of an issue with sleep talking. So I put a little recorder on my phone just to see what's up. It's a situation that's aggravated by stress and due to the fact that I recently found out a relative of mine is letting her live-in boyfriend beat the living crap out of her own children. And yes, I'm putting that online. You dare come after me, I will show everything. Shut up now and we'll just leave it to the police. Anyway, back with this stream recorder, basically all it does is record, supposed to do, is record things, anything that happens at night. Most of the recordings are like this. Me occasionally rambling, tossing and turning in bed. Phone notifications from when people are trying to bother me when I'm asleep. My creaky bed. Occasionally me swearing. Parts of where I'm apparently singing. That was weird. But that's all you hear, right? There was one recording where all of a sudden there's a shit ton of white noise. And for these experiments, I've been using a source of white noise in order to help bring out any spiritual voices, because that's supposed to help. And as soon as the voice is done, the white noise turns off by itself. I have never had that happen before. Okay, once, but I've never been able to get it on tape. Hey, I told you to shut up. Again, see? Alerts for my phone being on. Me snoring, me rolling around in bed, and me occasionally talking. That's supposed to be all that it catches. Maybe the fucking cats. If the cats made that fucking noise, I want to know how the fuck they did it. I'm going to play the audio by itself directly after when I'm done with this talk. And I'm going here in the next couple of days, I'm also going to release video containing the first 2 audio experiments. I have one more audio experiment that's been done and recorded, just needs to be analyzed before I put it online. The hunt for John Constantine has brought up some interesting results. And I have taken the liberty of reaching out to some of his original creators to see if they hear it too. At the time of recording, I have yet to get a response, if they're willing to. Because I'll admit, once they told me that they are willing to hear me out, I spilled the details that I'm not just some weirdo with a voice recorder looking for things, dead people to talk to me in the middle of the night. This has officially become the weirdest case I've ever taken on. And I hope y'all listen to the results soon. I'm not going to publish the full audio tests with any modifications whatsoever, so you all can hear it as it was documented. This is officially part 3 of the hunt for infinite Earths. My goal was to get a finished product out by the 14th in order to coincide with Crisis on Infinite Earths with CW, in order just to kind of piggyback off of the potential Google searches, but these results warrant more investigation. And then, like I tried to tell people, this isn't just some contacting somebody who's less likely to freak out thinking that they're going schizophrenic if I go to reach out to them. John Constantine's own creators say that the thing is with him, the last thing you want to be is his friend. And one of the authors, when he originally responded to me, even said that it might be skeptical if John responds in the first place, and if it is him, he's probably working an angle. So, ladies and gentlemen, if I go missing, there's a bit of a list of people who are likely to try it. Honestly, I shouldn't go that route. Say, if I go missing, it was John Constantine. But no, there's plenty of assholes who I've pissed off over the years that would want me dead. Some of them are in my own family. Some of them who are willing to get rid of their own kids in order to cover their asses. Now, I'm putting that out there right now. The matter's still being involved with the police, but due to the nature of some of these assholes, I've been dealt with stalkers before in trying to get these assholes behind bars, so I'm going to slip that in there. Doesn't really have anything to do with this case, but other than it's a note. So anyway, I'm going to stop bothering you now and play the video. This is the message that was left to me. If you want to try to close your eyes and listen for yourself, see what you hear out of it, be my guest. But for me, and for a couple other people I've shown the tape to, it sounds like an older woman saying, if you're hearing me, Constantine wants you. So John, if you can hear me, I promise you I'm coming. I think we have a lot to learn from one another. And I promise to the rest of you who are watching this video, I haven't gone totally insane. Yet.